Hey everyone, welcome to a new video, welcome to my channel. My name is Maaike. Today we are going to be doing a full face of Milani. This is a brand I've wanted to do a full face with for a while, but Milani is a little bit of a difficult and pricey brand to get a hold of if you're not in the US. It's available only online and we pay a premium for all of these products, that's for sure. So that's why it took me a little while to gather enough products to be able to do this full face. The only thing I don't have is brows, mascara, and a setting spray. Everything else I've covered. So I think that this is going to be one of the full faces of makeup that I'm doing this year, because with a lot of brands I don't find their primers or their eyeshadow primers all that interesting. But Milani does some really good base products, so I definitely wanted to make sure I have some things on hand. So we're just going to talk about all these products that I have from Milani as we're doing this makeup look. So let's just get started. And we're gonna start off by priming the face. And this primer is one I was very excited to try. It's their Prime Light Face Primer with a strobing effect. So this seems to be like a MAC strobe cream kind of dupe kind of thing. It seems to be more luminous than the strobe cream though. I think they also have some different versions of this, but I like me a dewy primer. So let me put this on my face because I've only used this one so far. It's very thin, very lotiony. And that's what the effect of the primer will give you. It's luminous, but it doesn't really show, like it doesn't make you look like a disco ball, like the ColourPop hydrating primer. That one, like the illuminating version of it, it just shimmer all over. It's definitely more of like that natural glow, just very healthy look to the skin. So I love that. The next product I would like to use is one of my favorite products ever. In terms of eyeshadow primer, my favorite eyeshadow primer is my Milani, and I haven't used this in a while because I was trying some other primers and it takes a while to get through a tube of eyeshadow primer. This only comes in one shade, and I think this is one of the best eyeshadow primers I've ever tried. It's better than the Urban Decay Primer Potion or Too Faced Shadow Insurance, and I do go back to this from time to time, so I've used several of these up in the past, and it's a great product. But this is also a product that allows me to tell you more about how much we sometimes pay for Milani over here. So in the US, I believe this retails for $7 or $8, depending on where you buy it. Here, depending on where you buy it, it retails for $11, $12, but I've seen it go for as much as $14.95, which means that this product is almost twice as expensive than when you buy it in the US. Again, depending on where you get it, but still, just to tell you, just to give you a bit of an idea how much marked up these products are, because they're imported, because Milani is not a brand that really sells in Europe all that much. But yeah, this is my favorite eyeshadow primer. I think that even at the higher price point, this is worth it. It doesn't really block out your lids or anything. It's just a clear primer. And I like that this comes in a squeezy tube because I don't mind having to apply eyeshadow primers like this with my finger. I feel it actually works better because the warmth of my finger really allows me to blend it in and make sure I have an even layer everywhere. So now that we're primed and ready to go, we can talk about base. And for foundation, I've got two options. And I can't use both, I think, but I may have to use both because I got these two. This is the Conceal and Perfect Foundation and Concealer in 00A Porcelain. This is a full coverage foundation, and I'm not a huge fan of full coverage. However, if you use a sponge, you can tone it down to more of like a medium to full. So I would definitely use it like that. I like having a full coverage foundation, and if I have to use a full coverage foundation, it would be this one. But what's new, at least it was new here in Europe, I'm not sure how long this has been out in the US, but they have come out with the Glow Hydrating Skin Tint, and I have it in 110, Fair to Light. And I really want to try this. It is a very hydrating, it's got squalane in, it's got coconut water. It sounds like something that I might really like. However, this has been the issue with a lot of Milani based products because before, when this line was first launched, the lightest shade in this line was too dark for me. They extended the shade range as it became very popular, and then Porcelain worked a lot better for me. So that's why I may have to go in with a little bit of this, because this is a little bit orange. So let me just show you on the back of my hand so you can see. Since it is a very thin formula, I might be able to get away with it. I've used it on my face once so far, and I do think it is too dark. So that's what it looks like if you blend it out a little bit. I mean, it's got a really nice glow to it, so I think it may be one of those products that works quite well on me. But I think the shade range, especially here in my neck, I tend to be a lot lighter in my neck than I am in my face because I've got some redness going on. So usually from like full frontal view, you don't really see it. But then when I turn to the left, like when I turn my cheek, you really get this demarcation line. And because I don't have a very strong jaw, my neck my neck and my jaw just kind of join here. So that's why it's difficult for me to get away with foundations that are too dark, even though they maybe look fine here. Very often I'm better off going for a lighter foundation that matches my neck, so I don't have any weird lines over here, than to make sure it looks okay here. So we'll see how this goes on camera. Like I said, I've only used it once. I felt it was too dark, but I think, you know, in the summertime, I might still be able to get away with it. It is really lovely and hydrating though, I do have to say. Now I use a sponge because that usually helps with shearing out a product, and I think actually, if I look at it in the viewfinder, it definitely doesn't look too dark. So I think it's okay, provided you just use a little bit of a thin layer. And as you can see, it gives a little bit of coverage. Most of my redness has now disappeared, but it still looks very much like my skin. Like it definitely, like I've got a red blotch right here next to my nose. That's not disappeared. Like you can definitely still see my skin coming through. And I personally love foundations that do that. I don't want anything more than this really, because if I want to amp up the coverage, I go in with concealer. So I think I'm quite happy with this. What do we think? How do we feel about the Glow Hydrating Skin Tint? I haven't heard anybody talking about this product. I was super excited to find it because this one is definitely too full on. And yeah, I said in my foundation declutter that if this is very successful for me, that I would declutter this. So I will have to try that more though, because this is like the second or third time I put this on my face. So I'm really not sure yet in terms of like wear time. I need to try a foundation for like 2 weeks every single day for me to really be able to make up my mind. So that's why this is still on like the to try pile. But I think this can be a really pretty one for like maybe to put in my next shop my stash to really try and get some more use out of it. And I'm going to go in with the Conceal and Perfect Long Wear Concealer. I have this in 110 Nude Ivory, and they were out of the rose one, which is a bit more pink toned, so this is a bit too yellow, but I needed a concealer for this video. All right, and that's what the concealer looks like. It's definitely not offensive on me. It is a good shade for me. It's perhaps a little bit more yellow tone than I would go for, but therefore also quite brightening on me. So I do really like this effect. And just using concealer in some parts of my face gives me a little bit of extra coverage. So now my cheek isn't as red anymore as it was. It still looks nice and blended and like my skin, but nothing too full on, which I do like. So I have no clue how this is no clue how long this is gonna wear for, because I haven't put these two products together yet. So we'll see how it goes. And then another product I was very interested in that I hadn't tried yet is the Milani Prep Set and Glow Illuminating Transparent Powder. Now, you haven't seen me use a lot of powders in these full face of videos this year because I felt I was accumulating an excess of powders because of doing these videos. So I told myself I'm only going to buy powders if I'm interested in them. And this one, I was very much curious after, because a lot of people have likened this to the effect that you can get from like an hourglass powder. I've swatched it right here, but of course you can't really see it because it's translucent. So let me just put it on my face so we can see the before and after of what this looks like on. Okay, so I'm not sure how big of a fan I am of this powder. It is pretty in the pan and it looks really nice swatched. I think it may be a little bit too thick and cakey actually for what I usually go for. I feel that especially now on my forehead, I don't think you can really see it, but I can really all of a sudden just see this like patch. You can see sort of where I put the concealer and where the foundation is. It's almost as if it really attaches itself to the concealer, which is not a good look. So let me see if I can fix that a bit by blending it in with a damp sponge, because that can usually help. And maybe if I use setting spray towards the end, it may look a little less cakey as well. But it was only on my forehead, really. On my chin and on my nose, I didn't really feel that it had that effect. However, around my nose, I feel that it does make my makeup all of a sudden look a little bit darker than it did before. So I don't love powders that add color. So this may be a powder that's not actually as translucent as it promises to be. And then if you're very fair and it changes the color of your foundation, it usually doesn't look good. So since these products are at Milani, I'm quickly going to be doing my brows with the combo that's in my Shop My Stash, and then I'll be right back. And now we're moving on to the cheek looks, and I'm super happy with the selection I have to show you. I had never tried a Milani bronzer, but I had heard so many good things. Let me not try and blind you here about this bronzer. This is the Silky Matte Bronzing Powder in the shade 01 Sunlight. Doesn't that look stunning? I feel I've used it once or twice so far, so not a whole lot, so I can't attest to it just yet. But I think this may be up there with some higher end bronzers for sure. I feel this is quite similar to the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Bronzer. There, I said it. I get a similar vibe from this when I use it, even though that one I haven't used a whole lot yet. So I can't be sure, but let me show you what this looks like on. So, ta-da! Do you just see what a lovely effect this gives? I know that a lot of people are afraid that the lightest shade in the Charlotte Tilbury is too light for them. I think you might like this. This is a little bit deeper than that is, I find. It gives me just a little bit of color, nothing too much. It is more yellow toned leaning, which we all know. I love a yellow tone bronzer because I feel it's a bit more neutral than an orange or a reddish toned one, and it works better if you have a cooler undertone. So I really appreciate that this lightest shade has that. And yeah, I think that this may be one of my favorite drugstore bronzers. I think it's that great. I really, really do. However, I just got this in. I haven't tried it a whole lot, but this is definitely one that's out there for me. Like, it's up there. I do have to say something now that I'm using all of these products together, because that's something I've never done before. I do start to smell a bit like cookie dough at the moment. There's this like candy sweet cookie dough scent to all of these products. And now that I'm putting them all on my face, I'm starting to, it's just a little bit of an overwhelming scent. And you know how I feel about scented makeup. It's not my favorite. So that would be a biggest downside for me. If you're sensitive to scents, maybe don't try the Milani stuff. What I would like to show you next is a highlighter. And this is one that I've kept around from my declutter last year. Because it's a peachy toned highlighter and I had too many peachy tones, I felt. And this was the one that was the least perfect, so I decluttered it. This is the Milani Hypnotic Lights Highlighter in 03 Luster Light. And I remember I had to hunt this down quite a bit. I don't think you can get this shade anymore. It was like a limited edition line they did. But this is really pretty. It's a more peachy toned one. But I felt that the texture compared to some of my other peachy toned highlighters just wasn't as good. It's more of like a subtle highlighter. I like something a little bit more intense. I don't think you can really see it. I swatched it over here. But yeah, it's really pretty. So do you just see that you get a really lovely, more subtle peachy glow, which I love. However, in real life, and this is the reason why I ended up decluttering this one, it does have quite a strong colored base to it. So I feel that it doesn't quite sit on the skin, not desperately, but I can definitely see a little bit of a cast as I move around. And that's why this one ended up in my declutter. Because I was like, yeah, it's not perfect. And I have many other peachy toned highlighters that do something similarly. I can think of the Annabelle holographic highlighter I have in Pegasus that gives me the same effect. My Kat Von D, or KVD Beauty I should say, single eyeshadow in Thunderstruck gives me the same vibe. My Nabla skin glazing highlighter in Privilege gives me a similar vibe. So I don't need this. However, it was a nice product to use. As you can see, I really like the glow that it gives, but it's not perfect for my fair skin. For blush, I've got 3 options for you. One I really want to put on my face to see if it still works really well, because the Milani Flower blushes are some that don't swatch great, but they do look nice on the cheeks. But I have to be quite honest with you, I haven't used this in a while. This is in the shade Coral Cove, so this is the one I want to put on. But because I wanted to try some new Milani stuff, and I saw that they came out with liquid and cream blush, and I'm currently really into trying liquid and cream blush. So I was like, let's chuck these in and see. So I've got the Milani Cheek Kiss liquid blush in 160 Berry Smooch. And this one I haven't even used on my face yet, so I can't tell you anything about it. The only thing I know from swatching it is that you really only need about this much to get the effect that you would like. Do you just see that? Like, oh, this is, and I think that shade is lovely on my complexion. Like, you can really sheer it out, but you need to be very careful with how much you use, as you can see. And since these do stain, I'm going to rub this off immediately, because else I won't be able to take it off anymore, because that was the issue I had when I swatched this for the first time. And then they also released, and I think this is quite new, this is the Cheek Kiss Cream Blush in 110 Nude Kiss. And this, I already did use this, and it's such a weird formula because when you stick your finger in, it feels wet, and I'm not sure if you can see that, but it looks glossy. And the way I like to use cream blush like this is I put something on my finger, rub my fingers together, and then just tap it in. So that's what the swatch looks like when you go full on. And then if you like just tap it in a little bit, you get a really nice sort of neutrally blush, which I normally don't go for in a cream blush, but because this has a pinky undertone, I thought it was really pretty. So that one I'm very happy with, and I want to play around with it some more. That definitely needs to go into a Shop My Stash this summer, that's for sure. But like I said, I'm very desperate to be using Coral Cove again. It may be a bit too bright. It may not go with my very pale face like post-winter. This is more of like a height of summer kind of blush for me, so it probably won't go, but I just want to try this. Coral Cove, oh, stunning. I kept this one over all the other ones because I liked it so much. However, this is the blush that really, like in terms of swatching it, like when I try to swatch it, it looks so patchy that I'm like, ooh, is that gonna do anything? But then with a brush, I get this. It's stunning. It's a stunning blush. I'm so happy with that one. Still till this day. Milani and blush, for sure. Really, really good. I used to own Luminoso, so this is a bit of a, well, by the time this video goes up, you will have seen my cheek declutter. I decided to get rid of Luminoso because it's a little too orange for me, and I just don't love it all that much. I can only, again, get away with it in the height of summer, and I put it against some other of my blushes, and I'm like, it's just not perfect. There are other blushes that I would prefer to use over that, but I have to say that a glowy peachy blush like Luminoso is stunning, but I prefer the Essence Blush Lighter in, what's it called? Peachy Dawn, I think it's called. That one I love more than Luminoso. It works better with my complexion. It's a bit lighter. It doesn't have as much of an orange tone. This is a coral, so it's got a pinkness to it, and that's why it works on me, I find. Are you ready for eyeshadow? I quickly prime my lids, and there's really only one eyeshadow palette that I want to share with you when it comes to Milani. I contemplated buying one of the new ones, but given how expensive Milani is, and just these are, the new ones are not getting rave reviews like this one did, so that's why I didn't want to spend my money on a product that might be very mediocre. That Terra gilded one with the purples and the greens, that appeals to me. But yeah, I was like, maybe not. So what I have for you, this is very blinding, Soft and Sultry. I still bought this, again, to showcase how much Milani is marked up over here. Depending on where you bought this in the US, you could get this for 15 euros, $15 at full price. Some places it retailed for like $20, I believe. But I ended up paying 25 euros for this on sale. And by the end of it, like, a lot of places actually were selling this for as much as 30 to 95. So that's, again, like double of what you would pay for this in the US. And then, of course, you need to ask yourself, is that worth it? And that's why I didn't buy a new one, because those new palettes retail for like 35 euros because there are more shades in it. So those are even more expensive than these were. With this, I'm very happy that I have the Soft and Sultry. It's cool tones. So we're going to have a play around with that. I think I'm just going to do my favorite look that I always do when I grab for this palette. So let me zoom you in. All right, so that's the eye look done. What did I do? I used this shade right here in the crease. I believe it's called Smokin'. I blended it out with Soft Touch, which is right next to it. Then I put Come Hither, which is this taupe, all over the lid. And I used this taupe right here, which is Sweeter Than Chocolate, on the lower lash line. I used Naughty Night as a bit of a liner. And I used Diamonds and Pearls in the inner corner. And that's all I did in terms of eyeshadow, and then I just rounded it off with my Essence and Catrice mascara, which ended up being a bit of a mess because I have this line here that doesn't seem to go away, so that's great. Maybe if I blend it a little bit with eyeshadow, it might look a little less crazy, but unless I use makeup remover, I don't think I can get rid of it. Oh well. For lips, I've got a couple of options, two of which I'm going to swatch for you. The other two I want to put on my lips as a little bit of an ombre lip kind of situation. So let me talk about these two first. And I used to have more of these. These are the Amore Mattalics liquid lipsticks. These were a limited edition years ago. I'm not sure if these are actually still good, but Automatic Touch, it's such a stunning purpley shade. So that's why I wanted to show you this. Yeah, it still smells okay. And it still swatch is fine too. So that's a fun purple lipstick, which is why I kept it around. And Chromatic Addict is a lipstick that I sometimes use with a ColourPop liquid lipstick in Tulips. And then I like using this as a bit of an ombre lip moment because it's very metallic. Like, both of these have quite a bit of shine even when they dry down. What I want to put on my lips for you is Milani's Matte Darling. I don't remember what this lipstick line is called, but no, Matte Darling, Matte Orchid. Matte Darling was the nude I used to own in this line, but Matte Orchid, which is one of the most vibrant pinks in my makeup collection. And I think Let me swatch it for you right there. I think it will go very nicely with my yellow sweater that I'm wearing today. So this is a Monki mohair sweater. And I like wearing, like, especially with a cool toned eye like this, to wear a bright pink on the lips. And then we're gonna top it up with the Ludicrous lip gloss in 110 Luster Light. This has a really nice iridescent sparkle to it. I'm just going to put this a bit in the center of the lip. Let me see if I've got a place to swatch it. I'm not sure how I feel about this lip gloss just yet. I only just got it for the video. So this today will be the first time I'm wearing it. So let me take off my lip balm and put on the lipstick for you. So there you have the finished look. I really enjoy using these products. Like I mentioned halfway through the video, some of the face products had quite an overpowering scent, I found, as I was putting them all together on my face. However, by now they've all, like, that scent has gone away and it feels pretty okay actually. So I don't mind it too much anymore. I think that this finished look is just really, really cool. I love a good cool toned eyeshadow. You guys know that about me. That's why I keep the Soft and Sultry around, even though that palette has been discontinued. I love this lipstick on me. It is just, it's very unique in terms of like a bright pink, because I have a lot of bright pinks, but this is one of my favorites for exactly this reason. The lip gloss seems to be really fun. Those liquid lipsticks are fun. I like the cheek products. The only product I've used today that makes me go a bit, it's the face powder. I don't think I am super enthusiastic about that, but everything else, look, foundation looks nice, concealer looks nice. I am really down with this look. What do you guys think? Let me know in a comment down below. If you enjoyed watching this video, then please give it a thumbs up. That would help me out getting my videos out there. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more by me. I make 3 new videos a week. So I hope you have a great day wherever you are, and then I would like to see you in my next one. Bye bye.